So, here we go.
It was filled with childish frustrations and complexes which the police authorities for James Thomas believed to
Hello. You're listening to Midnight Movie Gang. It's currently 1:42 p.m. Night Movie Gang. And I'm here with my buddy Joseph.
Hello.
And my old college buddy Jack. Say hi, Jack.
Hi.
Old sweet mate, roommate. Rock and roll. And let's see. Yeah, so if this is your first time tuning in to Midnight Movie Gang, what a weird episode to start with.
It's a little indie darling you may have heard of.
Little indie darling.
Underground gem.
Yeah. No, but this podcast, we talk about cult cinema, genre film, kind of like horror and sci-fi is the main focus. I guess this is kind of a horror movie.
Oh, good. Oh.
Yeah, and no, today we're talking about just one of like the classic-iest cult classics at this point.
Yes.
The Room, which is considered like the king of like the so bad it's good era. And the main reason we're talking about is just because like I started listening to the audiobook and
got on a kick
of Disaster Artist, and I've kind of just been in a Wiseau headspace and just like pondering my existence.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. And it's my podcast, and we talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Yeah.
So so we're talking about The Room, along with basically mainly what I want to talk about. We're not necessarily going to get into like the plot of the movie, because that's kind of a puzzle like we usually do like with this podcast, where we break down the film kind of scene by scene.
It's not important.
We're kind of gonna more talk about like the impact of this movie,
Yeah.
whether or not we think this movie is like valid as art. And then also I do want to talk about The Disaster Artist, the movie, and some of the portrayals of real life events and people in that, and also some contrast with the book. Jackie, have you read the book?
I have not read the book. No, I just rewatched the movie in preparation for this though.
Rock and roll, yeah.
Never read a book in my life.
You never read a book ever.
Read.
Yeah.
And no, I just want to talk about some of the contrasting things in there. But yeah, no. So to start off, we don't have any tea. I just had a Doritos fruit punch.
A delicious Doritos.
It was delicious.
Yep.
Jack, what are you drinking?
I have a glass of water, but you can see that's not condensation. The bottom of it cracked a little bit.
Oh no!
Cool.
So the distance of it is pretty much as far as it can be from my laptop without.
It's like a little hourglass.
I see.
A little.
I'm just gonna wait. At some point, your screen is just gonna go black. You're gonna fizzle out.
Yeah.
We're gonna know why. And Joseph, you got some coffee here?
I've got a tall glass of paint thinner for this episode.
Yeah, it's not. It's not really tall. It's kind of short and stout.
Yeah.
But
but it is paint thinner.
Yeah, with a broken glass, that reminds me. Joseph, did I tell you about a few months ago, me and Courtney went to Olive Garden, and my glass...
It's a great start, by the way.
Yeah. I'm already laughing. Let's go.
Exactly. My glass at Olive Garden had a big crack in the lip of it. But not only that, there was like chunks, little particulates of glass.
You could have sued.
In chunks of glass. Yeah, we could have.
Could have got that Olive Garden money.
Yeah, Courtney got really... Well, we got a $100 gift card.
Hey, there you go. That's about the same thing.
Yeah, that meal was free, and then Courtney emailed corporate, and we got a $100 gift card in addition to that free meal there.
I mean, money would have been better, but yeah, I guess.
Yeah, like a settlement.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, pay my student loans.
Yeah.
So.
Now they're like, yeah, just we can give you like money to like come and eat here again.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying I was not really stressed or distraught about it as much as Court was.
Yeah, you don't want to drink like glass sand, right?
Yeah. It was like, I don't know. I was in my brain. I think it was just the mask. I'm like, I'm tough.
Whatever.
I can drink glass. I'll survive
without any milk.
Welcome to the salty spittoon. How tough are you?
Go right ahead, Elsie. Go right ahead.
Yeah. 1 second. Bringing up the Wikipedia for the room. I don't have my iPad. I just have my phone.
Tommy Wiseau.
The Room is a 2003 American independent romantic drama film written, directed, and produced by Tommy Wiseau and starring. Before we begin, I just want to ask, what's your guys' history with The Room, with Tommy Wiseau? When was the first time you saw it?
Before we jump into it, when you read that sentence where you said directed, written by Tommy Wiseau, I thought when you said and starring, it was like in parentheses at the end of the sentence at the article. Kind of starring.
That's how I put it.
Yeah, no, and so for this one, my experience with The Room it's actually interesting because everybody like watches it like in high school when they're high as shit for the first time. But the second time I ever watched the movie was actually at a midnight screening when we were in RPI. I think I told you about this back in the day.
I'm sorry. What? Sorry, it's all good. What's up?
I think my headphones got disconnected.
Both of them, the whole headphone.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jack.
You're good.
Is that better?
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. Sorry, continue, Jack. I'll make sure.
Perfect. Yeah. So my second time experiencing this movie was I went into the city to see a midnight screening of this movie, and beforehand I went to a record store and got a copy of Abraxas by Santana. Just on vinyl. It was just kind of instinctively, and we had to go straight to the showing right after because Tommy Wiseau was there too. It was.
Wait, wow. At RPI? I don't remember this.
Yeah, this was winter break, our sophomore year. And so we go there, and of course, my girlfriend.
Why didn't I fucking attend? Oh my god, I don't. Sorry, continue.
No, it was the birthday present for my girlfriend at the time, and she got us line tickets to go get pictures and autographs with Tommy. So of course I'm already geeking out, and most people are getting their tickets signed, but I was just holding Abraxas in a bag. So what he did when I came up to him and I was like talking about his movie Best Friends, Volume 1 and Volume 2 is other movies.
Best Fiends.
Is that what it's actually called? Or
no, I don't. I think it's Best Friends with R in parentheses, if I remember correctly.
That sounds right. I'm just gonna roll Best Fiends.
I don't know.
But no, instead of like signing my ticket or signing a poster, what he did was he took the copy.
He signed
Abraxas by
That
Santana.
Is fucking hilarious.
It's like,
you have it with you?
Yeah, give me 1 sec. Hold on.
It's like he didn't see what it was when he was signing it.
That makes it even better, honestly.
It's like he sees with infrared or something. Like he doesn't actually see. Like he just sees objects.
Yeah, he's just pure instinct. I'm so excited to see this
He's
record.
like a snake of a man.
I'm mad I didn't go to this when I was in college.
Man, I would love to meet him.
I think
That'd be so strange.
I think it'd be the closest thing to meeting an alien.
Yeah.
You know, as far as like.
He's just such a strange guy.
Yeah, Jack is grabbing the record.
He found it. Looks like he found it.
Looking at his cam. You're still muted, my guy.
I just grabbed
there
it.
You go.
Sorry.
Cool.
It's super hard to see.
Oh, I think I see it. Yep, Tommy. Wow.
That's amazing.
That's beautiful.
You might be the only one with that specific artifact.
I told my buddy, my best friend from high school, Kyle, that, and he's just like, yeah, that's the only one of that item that exists.
Yep.
And he just
singular thing.
And he didn't even say anything. He just kind of took it. And I was because I was asking him about Best Friends, Best Fiends. He's just like, oh, we're making movie. And
yes.
Movie. Here you go.
We are making movie.
Yep. And then
if I ever meet Tommy Wiseau, I'm bringing like season 3 of SpongeBob on DVD. Or something like that.
That's beautiful. I don't know what I'd want him to sign. I don't think anything could be as perfect as that. I can't think of anything that is like as off. Maybe the only thing I could think of is like maybe like I'd buy James Dean's biography or something.
Yeah. Oh, he'd love that. Yeah.
Get him to.
He'd be like,
get him to sign it.
Why would you get me to sign a mirror? Isn't that the point of?
That is me.
That's a great story. I remember that whole thing going down. I think mainly I didn't want to go just because I hadn't. I don't know. I just wasn't like as huge a. I don't want to say. I wasn't as interested in The Room and Tommy and like that world. I guess. So maybe that's why I wasn't as hyped back then. But goddamn, if I had a fucking time machine. So cool. But yeah, no, that's awesome. So yeah, Jack. Aside from that story, but you were already a fan at that point. So like, was the first time you saw it in high school? High and Dumb.
Yeah, High and Dumb in high school, and then probably watched it again in college at some points. But I revisited it for the first time in like 4 years. My band, we played a show with some of our friends that came down from Philly, and for no reason, one of our buddies, Max, just said, "Hey, do you want to watch The Room?" And I had the DVD. It was like in the back of like all my boxes of just DVDs I hadn't touched, so broke it out, and it was a lot. I had like a more cynical time watching it but I was still giggling the whole time because I'd watched The Disaster Artist in between those viewings of The Room. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to the discussion, but
Yeah.
yeah, and then I just rewatched Disaster Artist today before this.
Rock and roll. Joseph, what about your history with this genius of our time, filmmaker?
Well, I've never met him, unfortunately, but it's actually kind of funny. My first exposure to Tommy Wiseau was on Tim and Eric, where I thought that he was a character that they had made up. Like, if you've ever seen that episode of Tim and Eric, he's like, because they show a clip of the movie, and I thought, wow, this is such a Tim and Eric type like sketch that they did, and I was shocked. Like, it was like years later, like, and in that episode they bring him on to like direct an episode, and apparently they had like a negative experience working with him. Big shock there.
Not surprised.
But it's a really funny episode, but I thought he was just like some weirdo they found. I mean, he is, but I thought that he was just like a character that they were running with. And it wasn't until like years later when I was on YouTube and I saw all the content about The Room, and I was like, this is a real movie. This is a real guy. And I've just seen all the YouTube stuff everyone's seen. Yeah, and I had only ever seen it like in full when me and LC watched it for this episode.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna say same. I feel like before we watch, I'd never seen it in its entirety, all in one piece.
Yeah.
I think my first memory of even knowing what The Room was probably the Nostalgia Critic review, fucking years ago.
I think that was the same for me. I saw that and I was like, wait, is this like, is he in on the joke?
I think that might be my first, maybe not my first time watching it, but also first time like hearing about it was Nostalgia Critic.
Good old Nostalgia Critic.
Yeah, knowing what it was, like really just
deep
bringing
lore for all of our pasts.
Same thing with like the first time I saw. You guys ever heard of the movie Monster Squad?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
That one. Yeah, that one was also one that like I only found out because of Nostalgia Critic, and that movie's a fucking banger. I love doing Monster Squad episode. Although I've kind of got a traumatic memory associated with Monster Squad.
Really?
Kind of. Well, it's just like I had a really bad roommate. I'm not gonna name names, but my sophomore year roommate. Not gonna name names, but like, I had a like something like really awful. There's like a scene that's like kind of like awful.
Yeah.
In the movie, like I'm not gonna suppose say what it is, but there's something that's like hinted at.
The monsters join a squad.
Well, there's like some Holocaust shit. That, like,
Whoa!
In Monster Squad.
In Monster Squad.
Listen,
there's like,
you can spoil Monster Squad.
Actually, yeah.
Whoa, hold on. I could have sworn I've seen this. What the?
Okay.
Yeah, you can go ahead and spoil it.
Well,
I'd like to hear what it was.
I don't know if you remember, but like, there's a scene where so the kids think there's like a creepy old man who lives in like a creepy old house in the neighborhood, and all the kids think he's a vampire. And they break into his house to try to like see what's up, and then the guy finds him, and it turns out he's not a vampire. He's actually like a sweet old man who just has an unfortunate face, right?
Monster Squad.
And like but in this guy happens to just know a lot about Dracula and vampires and like he's like kind of a monster fanatic.
Okay.
And when the kids leave the house, the old man, like, they're like, gee, mister, you sure seem to know a lot about monsters. And then he goes, I suppose I do.
Oh.
And as he closes closes the door, you see up his sleeve he has a Holocaust number.
Oh my god, that's right.
How did I forget that?
And you're like, oh my god.
The moral of the story is the Holocaust was bad.
And my roommate like found it really fucked up.
Man,
and, like,
is the real Monster Squad.
Like he was in the movie while I was watching it, and he insisted that I turn like that shit fucking off. And he was like, he just got like really mad about it.
Oh my
And,
god.
The Nazis were the real Monster Squad the whole time.
so like, yeah, and I didn't get along with that roommate. That was like the worst roommate situation I've ever had. And like, so I
can imagine getting that angry at Monster Squad.
My mental association with that movie, I immediately think about my time with that roommate. So it's hard for me to revisit it.
I must. Jesus.
You blocked that out of your memory.
Did you know the Monster Squad in the title was actually the Nazi party?
My favorite part of the movie is when they kick the Wolfman in the nuts and the little kid goes, Wolfman's got nards.
Oh my god. And bringing back all the Nostalgia Critic the Nostalgia Critic memories.
Yeah.
And I'm not enjoying it.
The Nostalgia Critic era. We should do an expose on Nostalgia Critic. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah.
Not a fan anymore. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah. So with The Room, So yes, Nostalgia Critic. I think I tried to watch it by myself in high school.
Bad idea.
And there wasn't anything. I also was lame and like didn't do any substances till college. So like I was trying to watch it dry and alone.
Or eat a burger.
And Jack, if you're trying to talk, I can't. Oh, there you go.
No,
yeah, you were muted. Yeah, no. So and then I think the first time like I watched most of it in college was with my buddy Corey, who's been on the pod before. Like that group of friends, the UPAC squad we were doing, like we were just watching it like friends. And I think I just showed up to the party late. And yeah, I missed the beginning of it, and then I was also like really fucked up, and I was half paying attention to it. So like somewhere
You're
in
missing the funnies.
yeah. So like somewhere.
But also, that's the best possible way to watch that movie.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
And then this recent viewing that we did for the episode was the first time I'm pretty sure the first time I've seen it all in one piece, like all together. So yeah, kind of a similar kind of vibe. But then like saw The Disaster Artist when it came out in theaters. Loved it. Mm-hmm. Saw it again recently for the ep right before I started reading the book, and
What did you think about it this time?
I think in terms of its as a movie by itself, I still think it's like pretty good as far as like I don't know, I think I do genuinely think James Franco is giving his fucking all in that performance, even though it comes off it can come off like as an impression. It's such a hard for somebody who
but like honestly, Tommy Wiseau doesn't feel like a real person.
Exactly.
So that's kind of like the problem.
For somebody who is such a unique and distinct human being, it's kind of hard to like do anything outside of that. But I thought that he did a good job. And overall, like I think it's like in the realm of like the like movies about making movies kind of subgenre, I think it's a good one. Mm-hmm. But as far as like an adaptation of the book, it is a shitty adaptation of the book.
Okay.
Yeah, it was my entire, because there were a few things that happened in the movie that I was just gonna run through and ask you if it happened, because some of it just feels like either way too out there or way too played up. But
there's a lot of details there's characters and situations that they kind of squish together in the movie to happen at certain times that they didn't. There's like a lot of like things that they just skip over. Like one of the biggest things, honestly, being that like Greg was not hot on the script when he read it, like in real life. Like he told Tommy straight up, like, "Yeah, this is bad."
If I was Greg, I'd be pissed. Like, I have better taste than this.
And the only reason that Greg Sestero initially agreed to help Tommy with any production of the room is that basically, it was a job.
Yeah.
And Tommy said that like he would buy him a new car.
Yeah, because they were both like struggling actors, right?
Greg was a struggling actor. Tommy was struggling to be an actor, but not struggling because he's got his
secret millionaire,
his mystery money. Who Greg, according to the book, Greg
don't
still
even ask.
Doesn't know how he got the money. It's basically, I don't know. Greg says in the book that like he's pretty sure that Tommy is not getting the money from anything illegal. Like as far as like he's pretty sure,
but it's nothing he wants to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like he's still hush hush about it, mainly just because like there's never been any cops or like any kind of like investigation. Like and he's like, he lived with Tommy for years and spent like so much time around him, and during all that time, nothing that would insinuate that Tommy's like, because Tommy was very anti-drug.
Yeah.
Like he drank 8 Red Bulls a day, but he was very like staunchly against.
That fact always makes me laugh. I don't understand.
Yeah.
8.
And there was basically nothing to indicate that Tommy was doing anything illegal as far as like when Greg was living with him. So like Greg's pretty sure that the money doesn't come from someplace illegal.
Yeah. What a guy.
Yeah, no. But yeah, no. So yeah, the movie basically like paints Greg as like, the movie paints the relationship as a lot less like abusive as it really is, because like at the end of the day, most of the reason why in the book it's like why Greg stays attached to Tommy for so long is primarily because Tommy like is just financially supporting him through trying to be through Hollywood the whole time.
Yeah.
He's giving me a cheap place to live.
He's a good friend. I don't know.
Yeah, no, and like
it's like one of his best qualities.
Yeah, I mean at the beginning he started out as a good friend.
Okay.
But then he gets manipulative. But
Interesting.
We'll get into that. But yeah, no. So as far as like the plot of The Room is concerned, we're not going to spend a lot of time on the plot of the movie. But if someone on the street, if someone on the street came up to you, or like if a buddy of yours comes like, "Hey, I've heard of this movie, The Room, but what's it about?" What would you tell them?
I'd say I thought it was a funny bad movie, and I found out it's a funny bad softcore porn movie. Because
I forgot how much sex was in it.
If you structure this movie like an action movie, all the action scenes are the sex scenes, and they all take like 5 to 10 minutes apiece, and most of them involve one singular woman.
In an alternate universe, the Avengers Endgame moment of this movie is Tommy and Greg having a threesome with Lisa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I probably really wanted to end it.
Nah.
Well, actually, what's up? Oh, you lost. Well, again, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Is that better?
Yep. Thank you.
I got a really weird setup here with I have a normal
got a contraption.
Yeah, I have like a guitar pedal here acting as like a little headphone splitter.
Let's go. Oh my god.
Because I have like a normal headphone splitter thing, but I couldn't find the power supply for it, and so I have like a little guitar splitter thing. Yeah, it's a whole system.
You need to hook up a wah pedal to it just so you can get a little.
That'd be fun. Actually,
the room is bad.
I should have like a reverb pedal for the podcast that I could just kick on every once in a while.
Yeah.
We're recording from the cave.
What a story, Mark.
Hi, Mark. Hi, Mark. Yeah, no. So the plot of the room, Jack. What would you say? What do you say to people when they're like, "What's the room about?"
It's interesting because there is that scene in The Disaster Artist where they're like sitting at the lunch table and Denny, I think it's Denny, whoever Josh Hutcherson plays, he Denny. Side note, I like how when you go onto IMDb for The Disaster Artist, it says like the actors' names and then their characters' names in parentheses. But he asks Greg Sestero like, "What is it about?" And Greg just like kind of I forget exactly what he says verbatim, but then I forget the name. What's the name of the other woman in the movie? The other younger one, the one that has
Not Lisa.
Not Lisa says like, "Oh,
Claudette." No, Michelle.
Michelle, that's it. He's like, "Oh, this is."
Michelle.
She's like, "Oh, this is because he got betrayed by a woman." I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it's more. I think it's more just like it's Tommy's therapy session where
it very much feels like something that happened to him, and it. Like I said while we were watching it, it feels like some weird guy like cornered you at a party and he's like telling you this horrible fucking thing that happened to him.
Oh, that's really well put, actually.
He did nothing wrong, and everyone around him in his life is just a piece of shit
but
who betrays him.
She was just the fucking worst.
Yeah, there's literally that scene in the movie too where he first starts typing out the script and he just narrates that like pretty much exactly as you said, Joseph, verbatim to the audience. Like, "I am movie star. I'm good look." And the woman hurt. That's yeah.
It's so strange. It feels the woman that he's with is comically evil the whole time.
Yeah.
Like her as a character makes zero sense, and it feels like a guy who's like women describing a woman to the audience.
Yeah. The casting process for Lisa in the book, they talk about like extensively how like the actress that plays the real actress Juliette Danielle is her name, was like basically the reason why she was cast as Lisa is because she's pretty much like the only one who would put up with Tommy's abuse. Because like dozens and dozens of women came through. There was a woman that they originally had cast as Lisa, and basically like they had to reshoot like basically every kissing scene, love scene, any kind of scene of intimacy like a million times because Tommy would look so unnatural doing it.
And those are the ones that they went with, huh?
I was gonna say thank God they got the reshoots.
And Tommy,
I don't even want to think about what they looked like before.
And Tommy basically insisted all these, and part of the casting process was like literally all these women would have to make out with Tommy for like minutes and minutes on end.
Oh God!
And like lots, and
that's dark.
And basically, like a lot of how they had it set up, and also they talk about it so weird. The casting process was in the Burns and Sawyer parking lot, and like all these like women were just like waiting outside in the heat to go into like a tent they had set up.
Wow, what a piece of shit!
And apparently a lot of the women just left because the environment was terrible. But the ones who stayed, once they finally got a look at Tommy, they were like, "Is that the director?" And Greg was.
That's the guy who's gonna hump your belly button for 5 minutes.
And Greg's like, "Yeah," and he's also playing Johnny. And Greg's like, "Yeah." A lot of the book is honestly people like going up to Greg because like
Is this
Like-
guy for real?
Basically, being like that's that guy.
Yeah.
That is like most of the book. Yeah, no. So they had, yeah, Juliet Danielle pretty much just like she was the only one who stuck around. Basically, is the whole reason why she's Lisa.
That poor woman.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
no, and Tommy treated her like shit. Treated everyone like shit.
Yeah,
but
On screen too.
It's interesting that you
Yeah.
bring that up because the whole time, like watching The Disaster Artist, I was like going back and forth about having empathy for Tommy's character.
'Cause you want to like him, but he's such a piece of shit.
He's just
Yeah.
a monster. Especially,
Yeah.
there's one scene I want to talk about when we get to it, which I was going to ask you if it was in the book. But just thinking about adding that scene with the casting calls, like holy shit.
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah, I mean, you can. We're at this point. We can really skip around as far as like 'cause the plot of the room is basically like yeah, it's a love triangle between Johnny, Mark, who Mark, by the way, I think they say in the movie the character of Mark is named after Matt Damon in The Talented Mr. Ripley, because basically Tommy was inspired to write The Room after Greg took him to see The Talented Mr. Ripley.
No
And he's like, your character will be named Mark after Mark Damon.
God damn, this guy, is he like an Andy Kaufman-esque like character that someone's playing?
I really like the theory that he's just like that Tommy Wiseau is just a performance.
I don't believe
Like,
it though.
Wait, like in Iron Man 3,
Yeah.
the whole plot twist with the Mandarin.
You think he's just
He's going to
Like-
pull off the wig and it's just
Yeah.
Ben
Tommy
Kingsley.
Wiseau is Tommy Wiseau is actually Banksy.
I would love that so much. Yeah, no. So basically,
Sorry, I'm still laughing about the Banksy.
no, but yeah, no. So it's a love triangle between them, and then Danny is their next door neighbor, and he's addicted to drugs or whatever.
Denny,
And he
the
also
weird teenage receding hairline man boy who wants to watch him have sex with his
Yeah.
girlfriend.
I almost
supposed to-
spit out my water every time I hear the name Denny.
It's such a funny name to give to like a little weird guy in your movie.
yeah.
It reminds me of Donnie in The Big Lebowski a little bit.
Damn it, Donnie.
I can't take that
Shut
name
the fuck-
seriously.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
It's like your breakfast restaurant.
Yes. But yeah, no. So yeah, the actor that played Denny doesn't have a Wikipedia page.
He doesn't.
Oh no, is he
which
dead?
Which is funny to me.
Yeah, he doesn't have a.
No,
very
he's not.
He doesn't have a very robust IMDb either. But
No.
that probably goes
Just
for a lot
didn't
of them.
jumpstart his career.
And Juliet Danielle didn't do much after The Room. In 2015 she starred in a movie called Ghost Shark 2: Urban Jaws,
Hell yeah.
Hope she's doing well.
which is now on my list. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So, and then the movie ends with Johnny killing himself,
Blows his head off.
blows his head off, and
And everyone's like, good.
after a scene of rape. But Johnny is a
Yeah,
good guy.
He has a cool. He gets to finally get his just desserts on his girlfriend and his best friend who betrayed him by killing himself and,
And
now they're
ruining
sad.
well, at least he ruined her dress, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
And then Mark is after humping it, and now Mark is like, oh, why did you cheat on him? Like,
You'll
This is
never
all
have
your
me.
fault, Lisa.
You'll
Yeah.
never have me after having him like 10 fucking times over the
he
course.
ha- yeah. He has like no concept of like his any responsibility for him. Like, and it feels like Tommy doesn't either. Like yeah, I guess the friend character is kind of bad and like betraying him, but it's really just the woman. She's the real antagonist. And it's like he's supposed to be your best friend, dude. Like he's also like the whole time her cheating on Tommy with his friend is like framed as like just something that she is doing to both of them.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wildly misogynistic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mark-
extremely.
Mark just has zero blame in the situation.
Yeah.
100%.
She's 100% of the problem because he just can't say no, I guess.
Yeah. Also, the scene where there's just so many like moments that just show you how like one of the core tenets is that Tommy Wiseau just hates women. Like the fact in the movie when Greg is talking about like this story about this girl that he once knew, like she would have a bunch of guys and then they would beat her or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And Tommy just goes, ha, 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 what a story, Mark.
That is the most jarring thing. It's like he's not even like, wow, that's fucked up. He's like, ha ha ha, what a story.
Yeah.
Is that the same scene where he calls him like a woman expert? It seems to me like you're an expert, Mark.
Pretty much, yeah.
How's your sex life?
Oh,
No, pretty.
that.
Pretty.
Can we talk
Sorry, go
about
ahead, Jim.
one thing with that scene where they're at like the lunch and we asked about the sex life?
Yeah.
Just the entire start of the scene. I want to talk about Johnny's profession quickly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Because
He does he's businessman.
he's businessman at bank. He's
At bank. Long day at bank.
it kind of pleads into that whole narcissistic like kind of superhero angle where he's
Yeah.
just the guy at the bank and he
He
does
literally has no character flaws in this movie.
Yeah, you'd think that if he's business guy at bank, he'd be able to afford some better furniture.
Or some clothes that fit him.
Yeah, some clothes that fit him,
or maybe a gym to work out that flat ass he's got.
Yeah.
He looks like, I mean, he's weirdly muscular,
Yeah,
but he also, is he like I don't want to say burn victim, but he kind of looks a little bit like kind of melty,
Yeah.
especially in the nude scenes.
Well,
where
I mean-
you see his ass for half the movie.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's a few theories around that. One is like the idea that like he's had like a lot of cosmetic surgery done.
I believe it.
Okay.
Is one theory.
Just by the way,
Another
it's
theory-
already wrinkly and kind of rubbery. Like
Yeah.
Yeah. And another theory too is like, or at least in the book, and also they kind of mention in the movies, like he got into. So in the book, actually, he got into 2 major car accidents in his life.
Oh.
And Greg, one of the theories that Greg has in the book is he talks about how, like, it left him like, physically scarred and
Okay.
stuff, and he had to have like a lot of reconstructive surgery, and he also like got like a big payout as a result.
That's really interesting.
Of the that's how Greg thinks that he has
It's
that.
like a dark origin story.
Yeah,
that would make a good bit of sense.
Yeah.
yeah, that like
Brain damage too, maybe.
yeah. Although I don't necessarily know like how deep does the money pit go necessarily, as far as like how much money did he get, because he has like multiple
I
apartments,
mean, yeah, that could not cover all of this. No way.
residencies in Europe. The grand total of the budget of the room with like everything they spent reportedly ended up being $6 million.
It's interesting
That's a-
because he funded this whole movie himself, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
And then he had, what is it called, Roommates or something? His show that like Tim and Eric like helped produce.
Yeah, I think it's called Roommates.
Yeah, and that looks like it was shot on a phone, and like it looks like absolute trash. And this was like an actual production that he funded. He like bought all the gear.
Are you talking about The Neighbors?
Neighbors, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that show looks like someone shot it like in their garage. Like it looks like a high schooler made it.
Oh my god.
So I don't.
The poster of this movie, how do I share my screen?
It looks incredible. Wait, is it this one, Jack?
Yeah, it's got like the I love the font of the Neighbors.
Yeah, it's like a comedy. Like it's him trying to be funny.
The font of
And
the
if you've ever
Neighbors is like Brazil, like the Criterion cover.
I like how you can't read it because it's right up against the clouds.
Like it's Tommy when he's trying to be funny. And I know, like, I think posthumously he said that The Room is a comedy when it clearly wasn't intended to be.
It's black comedy. Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna
But-
ask about that too, because I feel like I read somewhere, because there's the scene in the movie of like the first screening in The Disaster Artist. Like he goes out, he cries, and he comes back in and plays it off as a comedy. Isn't
Yeah.
that the opposite of what happened? Wasn't he like upset at first?
So I think he was upset. I have 2 chapters left in the book, so that's
Don't hurt yourself.
I'm sure that's going to be explored in the end. But I'm pretty sure in real life he was like upset, and there was some dark years before the movie like gained its kind of cult status,
Yeah.
or at the very least, like the movie. So the cult status of it did start off in the book. They talk about it how like in that 2-week run of it being shown, there were 2 film students who went and saw it and like loved it.
Yeah.
And they loved it for all the reasons, as far as like they saw like they were inspired by it being
They
film
just
students.
actually genuinely liked it.
Yeah, and they
Wow.
and they convinced all of liked it.
It's
in the
really hard to imagine.
well, just like they were inspired by it, by like the whole like how the hell does this movie even exist? And they convinced all their film bro buddies to go see it as well during that like little 2-week run.
Yeah.
And as soon and like basically these guys were the one who spread around like, oh, have you heard of this movie? And then like when Tommy did do a DVD release, like there was a market of people buying it and sharing it around and making copies, and like and that's it just kind of grew as like from word of mouth like that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
into becoming what it was. Yeah, I got to check out this The Neighbors.
It's fucking horrible. Like it's not even Like The Room is fun to watch. Neighbors is basically incomprehensible.
I think the only thing I saw of that show was it is just a scene. I think he is in that stupid fucking blonde wig he's got. It's just him like getting into an argument with someone. It's like a static shot of them just like yelling and pushing each other. I don't even want to watch this scene again, but
it's hard to look at. The Room is lightning in a bottle. Is as soon as he found out people thought he was funny, it was all over for enjoyable Tommy Wiseau content.
Yeah, that's a good transition to what I want to talk about next, as far as like, so what? Oh no, your cat is against the cable. Oh God, hello kitty. Hello doggy.
Hi kitty.
Hi, dog. But what was I gonna say? So one, why do you think The Room has had the kind of longevity impact that it has, like to where in the year of our Lord 2024 we're talking about it, but also I was watching like 2-month-old YouTube video essays about this movie still, and then also just in general, what do you guys think about like it's so bad it's good in general, and what makes a good it's so bad it's good experience?
Yeah. Well, I think me personally, I'm more of a Neil Breen guy.
Mm-hmm.
I love me some Breenius. I think because Neil Breen, he never caught on that people thought he was funny. I think Neil Breen hears that. If anyone hasn't heard of Neil Breen, check him out. He's another like auteur who doesn't know how to make movies, but he loves making movies. And he's also like it's one of these things where like you can see his narcissism on display on screen, and like he always casts himself as this like perfect world-saving hero again, and he's really interesting and hilarious movies to watch in groups.
Funny enough, in Fateful Findings, there is another scene where a banker refers to himself as just working at the bank. It's at the end.
It's a through line.
It's where they're all like at the end and they're all projected in front of this green screen, and they all just like kill themselves because Neil Breen like saves the day and rats them out. Oh God.
The Room would fit into like a Neil Breen watch party. It's definitely aesthetically different from Neil Breen, but Neil Breen doesn't have the resources to hire like a full film crew.
Mm-hmm.
But Neil Breen found out people make fun of him, and his reaction isn't to capitalize on it, but to say, "No, I don't care about those people. I care only about the people who think I'm a good filmmaker and want to watch my movies. Those people don't exist, but those are the people he's making movies for." Tommy Wiseau, I feel he's more interesting of a person than a filmmaker. 100%. Like I think he's, because I've watched a lot of content just about like theories and like stories of just who he is.
Yeah.
I think he's just a very interesting person, just based around all the mystery around him.
Yeah, I feel like for me too, that's a big element of what draws me into the to like I pretty much, when we watched it recently, like I feel like any further watching of The Room now is purely gonna be just like an investigative exercise into like, what can this tell me about where this mysterious alien came from?
Yeah.
And yeah, it is definitely a case of like the story of the making of the thing is way more interesting than the thing itself. But like, I just wanted to say, I feel like the thing that keeps people coming back to this movie, and I think the thing that is important about like this kind of content, it's not just in movies too, like there's music too, like outsider music that like falls into this, where it's like the art and creation that doesn't, that when looking at it like is bad at adhering to the principles of what makes that format good.
Yeah.
Like The Room in every way, just like we interpret like the lighting is bad and the editing's bad and the story doesn't make any sense. There's plot holes and there's like,
you can tell a professional crew like worked on it.
Yeah, no, but like the thing that I think people find themselves coming back to about it is the fact that like there is kind of like a weird authenticity about it, and like a feeling of like, you know, like Tommy was passionate about this.
Yeah.
And it was like a terrible and the people involved were like being tortured, but like there was a lot of passion and energy that like went into this project, and I think that people like feel that when they watch it.
Yeah. And
like,
I think that went right out the window
like,
as soon as they found out people thought he was funny.
Yeah. Like I would much rather watch something like The Room than anything from like The Asylum.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
Type of thing, as far as like movies that are literally made to just like, yeah, we're gonna just like, this is a tax write-off, like we're gonna spend like $2 million like on this, it's gonna like make it's like we're gonna sell it to Netflix or whatever to fill out their catalog, and we're gonna make our money back.
Yeah.
And it's like we just don't really even care.
There's always felt so slimy and just like
Yeah.
it's not. This is gonna sound super, I guess, weird. It's not really like somebody isn't treating it as art. And I know that's kind of like a weird way to put it, but there's a passion, as you said. There's like an actual passion behind this narrative. And I think it's interesting you bring the story up, because another thing that I think helps people kind of connect to it is, this is gonna sound weird, it's like a timeless narrative. Like it's just
Everyone betray me.
Everyone betray me. But also like just the whole like man cheat on woman or woman cheat on man kind of thing. Like it's a lot easier to jump into that maybe as like, and then seeing that story interpreted in such a nightmare car crash of a way instead of, I actually had a difficulty getting into one of Neil Breeden's films, I Am Here Now. I think it's
oh no, it's
I Am Here ... now.
I am here now.
Because he plays like that, like super, he's like an alien Jesus thing.
Yeah, if you try to sum up any of the plots of Neil Breen's movies, you're gonna have a bad time.
Oh God, what was the one he did recently? I know we were talking about like The Room and the Disaster Artist. What was the one he did where he played twins?
I think it might have just been called Twins or something like that.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I've never super been into Neil Breen stuff, so I don't necessarily know, but I'm looking up.
I think he's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, back into it's a lot easier to like get into the story. It's just told in a way that it's like an alien that didn't understand our language tried retelling the story of romance gone wrong to us.
It's outsider art.
It's exactly.
It's beautiful. I love seeing weird people make art, and you know I don't love the gross shit that he did for this movie. I think that puts a tarnish on it for sure, but I am glad that this movie exists regardless of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that made me a bad person.
I don't know. You know, I just wanted to ask, do you guys think, I feel like I saw like a fan video or like it was like a concept thing where like somebody was remaking The Room, but good. like you take the plot of The Room, put in like real actors, and like make it like a real movie.
Oh, that sounds boring as hell.
Was Bob?
You know what I mean?
Was Bob Oden? I don't know why I'm thinking about like Bob.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're unearthing
Yeah, I remember seeing something about that where it's like The Room but real.
And then I never heard of it again.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, so I just looked it up on Reddit. It's Bob Odenkirk, The Room remake. I did not hit her. Yeah, it's literally. Oh, yeah, that's totally it. It's or at least that's what I'm thinking about, because it's Bob Odenkirk. He plays Tommy's character, and
really.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Whoa, wait. So did they make?
God,
the
I
whole
love
thing?
him.
I'm reading it.
I love everything he's ever done.
Whoa.
I hope he doesn't turn out to be a creep.
Wait, is this real?
I think it was just a scene. Maybe there's like a whole thing.
There's like a roof. I'm looking at a clip of like the rooftop scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Room. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm showing it to
and
Joseph.
he's actually doing a good job.
Yeah, he's like actually
He's
trying
a real
to act.
actor. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not.
I just can imagine
It's
Better Call
bullshit.
Saul now, just like when he's in the courtroom. He did not sell drugs. He did not.
Here's an interesting question: if you were making a real movie, but you had to cast Tommy as a character, who would you cast him as?
What do you mean?
Movie?
You mean like a real movie of The Room, or just
This is like if you were just making a movie, what kind of character do you think? What like role do you think that Tommy would actually like be interesting in?
I would cast him.
That wouldn't just destroy your movie.
I would cast him as one of the extras whose corpse is melting in Game of Thrones by Daenerys' dragons.
Cast him as a White Walker.
As a white.
The reason I ask is like the thing that I think of is like the Alfred Molina scene in Boogie Nights. I think just being cornered by a weirdo makes for like an interesting tension.
That's
Like,
actually
just
a good one.
Just a guy you just can't predict. Just a guy you can't wrap your head around, and he's like holding a gun to you or something, or he's just holding a gun.
In that same vein, I immediately thought of I didn't love the movie, but Licorice Pizza. Bradley Cooper's character in it, where he just picks them all up and just drives them down the road, and he's like clearly coked out.
Yeah, you like don't. This guy's just unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he could work as like a villain.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think of like an unhinged. I feel really bad, but the first thing I thought, like, I don't know, maybe like a homeless man.
No, that's
Like-
that's what I thought of too.
I don't know. I this is the exact opposite of the question of what you proposed, but I was just thinking like, who would I want in like my modern day like real movie remake of the or like I know we say him all the time, but Adam Driver as
Yeah.
Johnny. I did not hit her.
I'd have him as Kylo Ren. That'd be pretty interesting.
Oh, it's not true.
You're just shooting Luke like in The Last Jedi. More, more, more.
That'd be so
I
funny.
can see you through space. Cheep cheep.
Actually, wait, no. Tommy Wiseau is Kylo Ren. Really would be. I know what I have to do, but I don't. I can't. I
don't know if I'm
strength
strong
do
enough to do it.
They're just in the throne room with a lightsaber and every like where they're fighting the red guards, and every time he hits one of them, he just goes ah. Ah. This is
The island. I've seen his body.
I want to give more weirdos the opportunity to make a full movie with full creative control. That's what I want.
Yeah. No, that'd be fun. I feel like what is the last like? I feel like movies like this don't really exist anymore.
I think just Neil Breen is the thing that I think of mostly.
Or I should say, like, movies don't. Has there been anything that has hit like The Room? The closest thing I can think of, and I think this is also in the realm of like, is like Sharknado. As far as like a bad movie, like, oh, you gotta go see it. It's so bad,
Those
it's
are
crazy.
lame as hell to me though.
Yeah, no, I hate Sharknado.
Yeah.
I guess like a
You
true auteur. Like I guess if we're gonna call Tommy an auteur,
which I will.
he is the auteur. But I don't know why I immediately thought of Eli Roth. For no, but like I don't know, I don't really love Eli Roth's movies, but my first thought was just every single one of his movies are just so inherently like his.
Yeah, they're very him, and like Tarantino and like.
I feel like I feel like someone like and I'm thinking about just because we're about to do so. Jack, people at home listening, we are soon
Side
going.
baseball.
Sorry, quick set. We're launching a Patreon soon.
Woo!
And as part of that Patreon, we're going to have a monthly commentary track that we're going to upload. And the first fucking movie we're recording the commentary after this episode is Signs.
Nice. Oh God.
And so the reason I bring it up is because I feel like Shyamalan kind of exists in this weird space as far as like he's a filmmaker that like you can look at and say like he's kind of like a bad filmmaker, or there are things about his movies that are consistently like bad, but
Normally, I would say don't listen to the critics, but Shyamalan is a good example of maybe you should sometimes listen to the critics.
Absolutely, please listen to the critics. Did we watch Split together, Elsie? I'm trying to
we
remember.
watch it together.
Split.
I don't
Was it-
remember.
it was-
I saw it at UPAC. Or wait, no, maybe we did because I saw it in theaters in college, which usually I went to the movies with you most of the time. I'm pretty sure we did, and there was like a guy in the theater. I remember like after he saw Bruce Willis going like, "Who the fuck is that?"
Oh, because I hadn't seen Unbreakable. Yeah.
That was me too. That was me. I was. I mean, I wasn't
Well,
there.
You were there.
I wasn't there, but
In
that was my
Albany?
reaction because I didn't see Unbreakable and I wasn't expecting a surprise sequel.
Yeah.
I just wanted a fun thriller about
Albany,
the
New
guy
York?
with split personalities.
Yep, it came out September 26, 2016, so that probably tracks.
Then he hulks out at
Yeah.
the end for some reason, and I'm like, what?
And then he gets superpowers.
Oh, it's
yeah.
a superhero
Oh,
movie?
boy.
I thought I wasn't watching a superhero movie.
but I was just saying that like Shyamalan is that filmmaker who like I feel like is kind of on the edge of like being an outsider kind of filmmaker, but I feel like there are certain things that he's legitimately good at that always like puts him above the like I think that he's like genuinely good at
That's
like
what makes him so frustrating, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, is like you can see his talent, and I think he's just I think he's just a guy who was told way too young that he's like the next big like genius, and I think he never let go of that.
Yeah, he's always had the pedestal like always told he was special.
Tommy
syndrome.
came out the womb with that confidence, though.
Yeah, Tommy's just in him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel like we said a lot about what we want to like. Before we get into the prop question, I guess, is there anything more? We talked about how
God,
like
I don't want to touch anything in this movie.
Oh,
it can be from The Room or The Disaster Artist, but
Okay.
even then, that doesn't.
Okay.
I can think of a few things that I'd want. Actually, I have a very easy one in my head that's kind of like an obvious one. But were there any other things that we want to talk about The Room, Tommy, the disaster artist. I feel like there isn't really much to break down yet. We talked about like James Franco's performance, but is there anything else that we want to discuss before we get into the prop question?
I guess the only thing I did want to touch on that scene where, like I mentioned, like just like how I can like literally have no, like just the empathy for the character is really difficult. I say character, but like Tommy was like that scene where where I keep on forgetting the character's name. That's the mom. That's Lisa's mom.
I forget her name too.
Like
it starts with a C. Claudia.
Definitely have breast cancer.
I always called her the grandma because she seemed much too old to be Lisa's mom.
Yeah.
1 second.
There's like 6 scenes of her telling her
Claudette.
she's bad for doing what she's doing.
Claudette. That's right.
And then she just goes back to doing it.
Because it's Jackie Weaver, I think, that plays her, right?
In the movie, in the real The Room,
in the disaster artist.
In the disaster artist. I'm not sure. I'm looking at the actress who plays her in The Room is Carolyn Minot. Minot. Disaster artist.
Please still be alive.
I think she is. Carolyn Minot.
It is Jackie Weaver.
Yeah, Jackie Weaver.
Yeah, because there's that scene where just the AC doesn't turn on, and she just like passes out on like the chair. Like that was the point that kind of broke me, like for the character. I was just like, obviously, you know, making everybody uncomfortable throughout the whole movie, but there it's just like
you're just being a bad person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there was that happened in the book. I mean, I think at that point in the book there was a lot of things that already like pushed over the edge. Like he went in the book, they talk about he goes through 3 different directors of photography. They like all quit for various reasons. There's like 4 or 5 different like all crew strikes where they're asking for basic shit like you know, like we want to get paid better, and like we want water or AC. We want more breaks. We want to guarantee that you show up on them, because he showed up. Oh, that was actually something funny from the book that I wanted to mention that I thought was fun. So every day he would demand that the crew show up at 8 a.m. Tommy never arrived before noon on set for any day. Yeah. Like he was 4 hours late every single day, and they would tell him like, oh, do you want to like move the shoot to the evenings? That it seems like that's more in your thing. He's like, no, we must be here at 8. It's a real Hollywood movie. And he was there at noon noon or later
too. Yeah.
And the makeup the makeup lady, or the makeup woman, I forget her name, she caught on like after the first week, and for the rest of the time she would show up at 11:30 every day. Yeah. And she never got caught.
Absolutely.
And she still got paid for the full day every time.
Good. Yeah.
So that's ingenuity right there.
Yeah. Jackass.
But now, just for the cinematography, this is actually fun fact. This is the only movie where both Roger Deakins and Emmanuel Lubezki have been the cinematographer for a movie, but have both left photography.
That's so funny.
That joke was gonna land, I swear. It didn't work, but
no.
So that's what I want to talk about. Do we want to talk about props? Can I say my prop real quick?
Yes.
Just because I thought about it. It's the dumb one. It's the obvious one, but I want the football.
That's a good one. Yep.
And I was thinking about it as far as like what I want Tommy to sign, and I know for a fact that I'm sure plenty of people have gotten Tommy to sign their footballs, but I want a football signed by Tommy Wiseau.
That would be pretty good.
Doesn't have to be the one, but
yeah.
That's my prop.
I'd probably do. This is a good one. Probably one of the suits or one of the tuxes. Just any of the tuxes, like right before the wedding.
Football tuxes. Nice. I want the high doggy.
You want the doggy?
With the doggy.
Yeah. If it's dead, I want it stuffed.
Fucking Kingsman stuff.
Yeah. I'd have a little plaque that says "Hi Doggy," and that's kind of the only thing I want. Even though he touched it, I'm sure it's been washed since.
That makes sense. That's cute. I think some runner-ups, I thought Tommy sunglasses would be cool.
His giant old man sunglasses.
Yeah, I feel like Greg's red tank top is pretty iconic in this movie. As far as like when I think of like what those characters look like, that's that's up there. But
I want the whole rooftop.
I want the shard of glass. One of the shards of glass of the TV that falls from his window.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Chris R's gun.
Chris R's gun. That's good. That's solid. Zac Efron's.
I don't know why I always forget. That's the funniest thing in the movie to me, that he goes by his last initial. Chris R. Because you know a lot of Chris's. You got to narrow it down. Like, oh, Chris R. That's the guy I owe money to.
You got to make sure we know it's a specific Chris.
That's
I was gonna say I changed my prop answer. I want the shed. Because it is just like a Home Depot shed that they bought.
They all have to duck into and out of.
Yeah, no, that's what I want. Because I'm just gonna like come out of there it's just gonna have like a fridge filled with empty water bottles for people to come out.
Perfect.
Oh, perfect. Actually, so back onto the subject of Chris R. Two of the other scenes that we're gonna ask you about, if they were in the book. The first one was Chris R. really method? Was that his thing?
Well, kind of. So that was okay. So the actor that originally was going to play Mark in the movie was Chris R. was his roommate.
Okay.
Who was not an actor whatsoever, and
Can I hear Chris R. without laughing?
It's Chris R. and Denny. Like I can't do it.
Yeah. Basically, what's it called? Basically, the guy who played Chris R was not an actor at all, but they were having a tough time casting the role, so they basically Tommy was like asking if they knew anybody, and this guy's like, yeah, my roommate's kind of like a big buff guy who like can be intimidating, he'd be perfect for this, and he agreed. And apparently he just like came and like he wasn't an actor, but he just like came and like was just really pumped up by the whole experience and just like gave it his all for no reason.
That's actually genuinely
God bless
wholesome.
him.
I kind of like that. Yeah.
I like that too.
So the next scene I was going to ask about was the Bryan Cranston scene in the movie.
No, so that actually so that
What's that scene?
So we're
in the Disaster Artist, Bryan Cranston, like they just it's Amber, his girl, it's Greg Sestero, and Amber, I think the name is the girlfriend. They're just in like a coffee shop or something, and Amber knows Bryan Cranston from like a class or something, and Bryan Cranston offers him a minor role. Greg Sestero,
Like as him, like Bryan Cranston as like a director, or like as himself.
As himself.
No, that's actually not why Greg didn't want to shave his beard. The reason we wanted to shave his beard is actually kind of more interesting. So, how do I put it? There was no opportunity for him to be on Malcolm in the Middle in real life. What happened was, so part of everybody who was involved with The Room, basically, like, if this movie does come out, I do not want to be associated with it. And, what's his name? Greg Sestero's plan was that after the movie came out, he was going to shave his beard. That way no one knew who he was. So that, like, to decrease his, like, that was part of his whole dissociation plan. Like, I'm going to shave the beard. No one's going to know it's me. Like, I can disassociate myself even further from
I love
this
how
fucking
little
movie.
he wanted to be in this movie, and yet he was.
Yeah, well, it was just Tommy just offered him a fuck ton of money.
Hey, man.
And, also another thing. So the beginning of it was, literally at the beginning, Tommy said, I'm going to buy you a new car at the end of the movie. And literally, Tommy bought him the car with the understanding that, so the last part of this movie, the last thing they filmed for the Disaster Artist overall was all the exterior shots in San Francisco, like, you know, when Tommy's like going to the store and when he's like on the trolley car or whatever.
Where they definitely didn't have any permits for it.
No, they didn't. So Tommy was like, I'll buy you the car as long as you drive me and like the crew that were, which it was just like, at that point it was just, he literally had 3 people left in his crew by the end of the shoot.
Oh my god, I would have quit after the first week.
And he's like, if you drive us and all of our equipment to San Francisco, and then it turns out that Tommy didn't even let Greg choose the car. Tommy's like, I'm gonna choose what car I'm gonna buy
car
you.
you want.
Yeah, and he's like, and he specifically chose like a big SUV type vehicle because like
the most expensive to own and operate vehicle.
Well, because it was very clear that the only reason Tommy wanted Greg to have this car was so that he could drive him and all of his gear around.
Okay.
So
he bought it for the production.
Yeah. And Greg just kept it afterwards.
Classic Tommy.
So
Nice.
And nothing was kept pure.
I just have this image now of Greg trying to hide after shaving his beard and Tommy going full Taken. I will find you, Mark.
I will find you and I will cast you again.
One more time. But yeah. No, so that's that's The Room.
It sure is. For better and mostly for worse.
Yeah, no, I definitely am gonna try to I don't know. I'm gonna try to watch Best Friends, or like try to check out some more of Wiseau's content, but it's tough because it's so hard to capture this that energy.
He is like one of the weirdos on Tim and Eric who got like just too big for his britches.
Yeah. But yeah, anything else, guys?
No. Look up more details on Tommy Wiseau. He's an enigma. He'll never disclose where he got his money. In interviews, his favorite thing to say is "next question."
Oh,
he loves to. It's the most frustrating thing in the world.
That's awesome.
It makes me dislike him way more every time I see it.
That's another thing from when I went to that showing. Like, because before the screening, he like went in, he walked up and down like the aisles because it was like a pure drop. It was a pretty steep theater. It was like in New York City, so it had to be. So he came in for a Q&A before the movie, but instead of actually like answering the questions, he just walked down the stairs, across in front of the screen, and then up the stairs, and people just shouted out questions to him, and his responses are just like less than a sentence. I'm trying to remember. There was one.
We worked hard on it. Next question.
No, okay. One of them was like, "When's your next movie?" I think it was like Best Fiends 2 at that time, or whatever. It's like, "When's the next movie coming out?" He said, "Okay, next question," or something along. It was just
okay. Next question.
He's just like barely conscious 100% of the time.
It's like, "Okay, it's coming. Next question." Or
he's just always thinking about the next thing. It's the exact same energy of him signing your album like that.
Yeah.
Just like, yes, I signed. Next question.
That really is a great fucking artifact. I never knew that.
Yeah. Now, like looking back at the story, I'm trying to remember if I like just was holding on to it and he signed it, or if I was like consciously like, what if I held on to it and he
I like it better if he just saw it and was like, yes, give me that, I sign it.
I take. Oh, man. If this was spill.com, I would love to see just the full-blown animation of
of him signing the Santana record. Absolutely, yeah. We'll have the budget for that someday.
Hell yeah.
If you folks out there sign up for the Patreon, be able to hire a full-time animator.
This is just a plug for the Patreon. We're
Exactly. Well, I mean, it is a thing as far as like this is going to be also the first. So the Patreon really is gets you get early access to episodes. So right now our release schedule is every Wednesday there's a new full episode. Every Friday there is a new video animated review.
Yeah.
Sign up for the Patreon, you get them each 2 days earlier. So if you sign up for the Patreon, you get to listen to this on Monday as opposed to Wednesday, and you get to see the video on Wednesday as opposed to Friday. And then the monthly commentary track.
Doesn't that sound good?
For right now. And
that sounds
folks,
awesome.
Folks,
thank you.
We want to do more, but we're humans who need money to live and do things.
We be working.
And because like I've loved doing this show so far. I've loved like all the like the followers that we have gained at this point, and we want to do more for the people who like listen every week.
Yeah.
And we love doing, but yeah, no, we just unfortunately live in a capitalist hellscape.
Yeah.
And like
I love needing money to survive.
and
It's awesome.
yeah, and for just $5, you make that cool thing. Main thing I want to do is I want to do like live streams and game stuff. I want to do Midnight Movie Game.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I've been thinking about starting a stream as well.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be a lot of fun. Midnight Movie Game. We could start off with playing Alien Isolation.
Yeah.
Or something, and kind of like maybe we don't have to, but like focusing on like.
I wouldn't mind a little bit of video game content.
Like licensed movie games. Like Alien Isolation being the main thing because I've tried to play that fucking game so many times. And I just get too goddamn scared.
Yeah. If you do a GoldenEye episode, I will fly up to Columbus right now and pull
that'd be
That'd
be sick.
Every iteration of GoldenEye. I've got a Wii right here.
We can call that a Patreon stretch goal.
Yeah, there we go.
I suppose. Like,
GoldenEye Mega Ep.
We'll see how many people sign up at launch, and then we'll determine from there what a reasonable goal for that would be.
How's that for an incentive?
Yeah, pay for Jack's plane ticket to come to Columbus. Yeah. But no, sorry. That was The Room. You've been listening to Midnight Movie Gang. Thank you so much for listening. You can follow us on Instagram at Midnight Movie Gang. TikTok, same thing. YouTube, same thing at Midnight Movie Gang. And the Patreon, I believe it's at Midnight Movie Gang Podcast on there. Yeah, folks, have a nice night. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So, here we go. with childish frustrations and complexes which the police are searching for James Thomas, believed to be the lover of Miss Williams, and her partner in the horrible murder of Walter. Where's everybody? And I'm here to hold on. Oh, please tell me where they've gone. Please tell me. Sorry, I don't know. How long did you my own house? Look what I've got in here. 3 tickets to Albany on 6 o'clock train tonight. What do you think? Special agent, special agent.